Guys, we're going to start with the quarterback position once again. Yesterday, it was announced that the Colts are allowing Anthony Richardson to seek a trade. The expected return for Anthony Richardson in a deal, according to both NFL.com and ESPN, is around a fourth-round pick, maybe a fifth-round pick with incentives to become a third or a fourth, depending on playing time.
Yeah.
Jason, Zach Jackson was on the show yesterday and said Malik Willis was plan A. If not, he mentioned Anthony Richardson before this report came out.
Yeah.
Are you buying any chance that the Browns would be in on the Anthony Richardson sweepstakes?
I mean, I think they'll probably kick the tires on a lot of them, but I would pass on this one. First of all, you're not going to get a fourth-round pick.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, you're not getting a fourth-round pick. What did Zach Wilson get when the Jets?
I think it's 7.
I meant to look that up. Usually, it's like a 6th or 7th. What did Darnold get when he left the Jets? Would Carolina give up a 5th, maybe? I think. That's the comp. What is Anthony Richardson in his career?
The Browns didn't get that much for Baker, and
no.
Now they were in a spot where you knew they had to trade him.
Yeah.
But still, he's way better than this guy.
No, there's the thing.
Real quick.
Yeah.
According to, once again, this is AI, so I hope AI is right. I'm reading this right.
Yeah.
No, it is right.
Yeah.
Darnold got traded from the Jets to the Panthers for a 2021 6th, a 2022 2nd, and a 2022 4th.
Oh, okay. There's more value
Zach
there than I
Wilson
thought.
did get traded for it was Zach Wilson in the 7th for a 6th.
Yeah.
So it was a pick swap for Wilson.
There's nothing there.
Sam Darnold, as bad as he was, I didn't think his reputation was as bad as Anthony Richardson.
Well, I would think this would trend more towards Zach Wilson than because he got benched for 2 games for being a child, essentially, and took himself out of a game because he was tired. I'm good, and maybe he's learned from that.
Yeah.
And I again, he can go on somewhere else and he can have a great career, but you have to look at what situation you're putting him in. And would the Browns have success developing him? I don't think so, no. So this would be a hard pass for me. I want a quarterback. The Browns have done this enough with guys who have maturity issues. The last thing you need is to go and find another project type guy who has maturity issues. Been there, done that, rinse and repeat. I'm good.
Yeah, this one let's talk about it strictly from a football standpoint. When Anthony Richardson came out, he only had, I believe, 1 or 2 years playing at Florida. As a matter of fact, I think he was a full-time starter once. In that year, after his junior year when he came out, he threw for about 2,500 yards, about 17 interceptions, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks. However, one of the things that people had urged him a little bit was to come back and work on some of his progressions in terms of being a better passer. And he came out and he went to the combine and he ran an electric 40 time. He came out, jumped high, ran fast, and had a very strong arm. He had a tremendously strong arm. However, some of the things that followed him in college, because he didn't have the foundation of being a seasoned passer or a polished passer, understanding what defense was trying to do to him, that those things kind of followed him into the league. I mean, he's still a very good athlete. However, when you take a look at some of the things that has happened with the injuries, one of the injuries was I go back to a couple of years ago when you had him playing in a game, and he was just looking at the coverage, and the guy came off the corner, and he failed to account for him for the protection because they couldn't block it. So he was hot, he got hit, got blasted, right? So he's a guy that has a lot of talent. He's a guy who has a lot of physical raw ability, but I agree with Jason. There's a lot of things going on in terms of, they gave him opportunity to seek a trade. I don't think his trade value is that high. I think, he will stick somewhere. Somebody will give him an opportunity. I don't know what the pick
If I'm
will
the
be.
Steelers, I'd do it. If
Right.
I'm Pittsburgh, I'd do it.
If you got like a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, right? And you're like, okay, well, we kind of know where that thing is going to lead
If you
to.
have a grown-up organization that's run by adults that has had success over the last 30 years, that's desperately seeking a franchise quarterback, take a shot.
You kick the tires
The
on
Browns are not that team as far as I'm concerned.
And I would say this. If you look at what they have, if the Browns want projects that they got to really see if they got something in, and they want to see those projects do something, you got 2-3 guys that you already got that is in comparable places where he is. I just don't see it with Anthony Richardson, but I think somebody will take a flyer on him.
I think I happened to be listening to NFL radio yesterday. You guys remember Kirk Morrison? He was a linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For the Raiders.
Played for the Raiders, played for the Bills at the end of his career. I thought he made a really interesting comment. He said, they were talking about Anthony Richardson, and he said, and the host, I think it was Bruce Murray, was like, yeah, he's a developmental quarterback. And Kirk Morrison goes, the NFL's not really a developmental league anymore. You can't. He's like, look at how many new coaches. There's been 17 new coaches the last 2 years.
Yeah.
There's 5 coaches that have been with their team more than 5 years. So if you take a chance on a developmental quarterback, even if he gets good, if it takes too much time, you might not be the quarterback the coach that benefits from that.
Yeah.
The Browns already, as you said, have Shedeur Sanders, a developmental player, Dylan Gabriel, a developmental player. Whether we believe in them or not, they're not finished products. We know that.
Right.
So why would you bring in another guy? I know he's got some raw ability, but it makes way more sense for a team with an older veteran quarterback on a team that's like a franchise that has a good reputation, that's had success. Like, be a perfect fit for him? The Rams.
As a backup to Stafford.
As a backup to Stafford. Learn how to be a pro.
Yeah.
Learn under one of the best coaches in the league. And if he pans out, maybe Stafford only plays one more year. Maybe he becomes their starter 2 years from now after learning there. But for him to come here and compete for the starting job, come on. He's, there's a level of maturity that has to happen. It's hard for that to happen overnight. Obviously, he probably shouldn't have come out of college when he did. That's where you develop now. You got to develop in college, not really in the NFL. It's harder.
Well, he got his money, so he made that. That was before NIL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
That was a thing. Like, before NIL, and he came out, and people, when he went to the combine, he was listed as maybe a 2nd-round pick, but when he ran the way he did and his athleticism showed, it was a no-brainer. He had to go to the league. Like, at that point, where did he get drafted, 5th or something?
Around there.
He got drafted 4th. If you're going 4th overall,
right? Yeah.
You got to go. So he made that right decision financially, but I just don't think that he doesn't have the foundation that a passer should have leaving college. So now you add on that the fact that now it's the pros, people are faster, and you got to get it right down. You got to understand it today. I just think he might play. He might get a kick the tires of somewhere else. He reminds me a little bit of Trey Lance, right? Trey Lance went 3rd, I believe.
Yeah,
he went 3rd.
Got injured a few times, and every year, like once he's a free agent, people kind of throw his name out there because he's big, he's fast, he's strong, and you're like, man, I could see something in there, but Trey Lance never seems to really put it all together. I think he might be one of them dudes.
At that position, physical skills only get you so. It sounds weird to say.
No, yeah, you're right.
But physical skills only get you so far if you don't have the buy-in and the mental makeup and the maturity to watch film and study and understand what defenses are trying to do. You're not going to go very far.
I will see, and I think
maybe he's learned. Maybe he's learned.
And look, maybe some people take a little bit longer. So Sam Darnold, he went from coach to coach to team, and look where he's at. I would caution, it'd be a cautionary tale that everybody who goes to another team that's a reclamation project is not going to have the same success as Sam Darnold.
And that's
in fact, most will not.
Most will not.
Yeah.
The Sam Darnolds are the anomalies. They're not the
right. They're the exception.
Everybody's
not the
looking
rule.
for the next Sam Darnold. It's like you may have to wait 5 or 6, 7, 8 years to find another one of those.
Yeah, there's
because
not
they
a
don't
lot of
happen.
guys like that
that
are in that scenario. And Anthony Richardson hasn't played as much as Sam Darnold had played. I mean, it took Sam Darnold, 7 years, 8 years?
Yeah.
Richardson's only played in 17 games. He
Yeah.
started 15. He's got an 8-7 record despite throwing more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that tells you what win-loss record means, especially in a small sample size. He's more like Zach Wilson, like you said.
Now, if you would have told me, now this, and I don't want people to take this as being disrespectful, because I do think he can throw the football. He has a cannon for an arm, but you look at his skills and you look at people like Terrell Pryor, right? Terrell Pryor was a quarterback at Ohio State. we were always waiting for Terrell Pryor to put it together, but he turned himself into a pretty doggone good receiver for a couple of years. Like, I think if you ask me what I would do with Anthony Richardson, he'll probably get an opportunity to go somewhere else, and if that don't work, then it's starting to get late in the game because now they're going to start to look at you as a career backup. Yeah. And if you're going to be a career backup, they want you to have the cerebral parts. They want you to be the mentor. They want you to be all those things. I would kick the tires on them if they said, "Hey, can you play tight end? Can you split out wide and catch the ball? I mean, you fat. You run 4.4. You jump 40 inches. Like that may be something, but that's down the line. But no disrespect, but I think that may be an option for them if the quarterback route don't work.
Yeah, so I think it looks like we're all on the same page here, Mike. None of us want Anthony Richardson.
Has anyone said yes? Like, I haven't seen anybody that said they want him.
I don't know. Zach said he thought it was part of the, could be on there.
I mean, you have to do your due diligence, kick the tires, all that stuff.
Sure.
All the whatever cliche you want
Until
to
you're
use.
sure you have your quarterback, you have to exhaust every possibility at the position.
Yeah.
Consider anything.